Hey everyone, I'm Sandy Hayes, your empath manifestation coach. Today we're actually talking about the witch wound and what that is all about, how that manifests in your life, and ways to heal and move forward with it. Basically, what is the witch wound? So basically what happens is that in past lives, and I believe in past lives, and I'm assuming that many of you who are here in this group also do as well. But if you don't, that's perfectly fine. This might not be the topic for you if you don't believe in past lives, but when it comes to the witch wound, many of us, light workers and empaths, were witches in a certain degree, back in the time of the Inquisition and the time of the Salem witch trials. And a lot of that is, we were just trying to be ourselves. We were, a lot of times that we were killed or tortured as a witch for for being Catholic, for having hair too red, for being too outspoken as a woman, for being a medicine woman in a certain degree, like practicing like herbology, for having a pet that's too close to you. Like there's so many things, so many silly things now, like that seem silly to us now, but we're really deemed as like what made you a witch, quote unquote. So basically a lot of that during the Inquisition and the Salem witch trials, like I said, it was very against women especially. And because of that, women were not allowed to be their unique selves, to be who they are meant to be. And this has been passed down not only through past lives, but also ancestrally. And it's actually been scientifically proven that we do carry down or ancestral trauma and is encoded in our DNA. So basically, if our grandmother suffers some type of trauma in her life, then that is passed down to the mother and the granddaughter, because the grandmother at the time of her being born actually has the eggs for the mother and the mother's mother already within her. So it's just all encoded in your DNA, and basically there's a scientific sorry, my brain isn't quite working, but something called neuroplasticity, a form of science that's being studied on how we can actually rewire our brains and heal ourselves when it comes to this ancestral trauma, when it comes to current life trauma. And a lot of times it's encoded in our DNA, and it comes out as illness. It comes out in anxiety, depression, chronic illness, fatigue, other autoimmune diseases. Just very like all chronic things that tend to happen. I know in my own family line that my grandmother was had so many chronic issues. And she was just, she went to the doctor and she was prescribed pain medicine, and then she became addicted to pain medicine basically the rest of her life. Because at that time, that is what the doctors were dishing out. I won't even get into that. And then my mother, she also has chronic illness as well. And then I have personally suffered from, I got diagnosed with lupus like 3.5 years ago. I've dealt with anxiety most of my life, so it just really comes out in so many ways, and I've been able to heal the lupus and the anxiety over 80%, and I still continue to do so. It's not a quick fix when you're actually healing it from the root level, but instead of masking the symptoms, you're actually going into, like I said, the root to heal all of that, and to actually heal and not just, like I said, mask those symptoms. A lot of times you're on medicine and And then a lot of times you need other medicine because of side effects from that medicine. And okay, I don't even know why I'm getting on that tangent. Let me look back at my notes, but hi Erin, how are you? Thanks for joining. But yeah, so I was talking about the witch wound. Basically, like I said, how it's basically been passed down in generations that it's not safe to express ourselves because we are going to get killed for expressing ourselves. I know personally, like I've had experiences of meditation and an energy healing where I know I was killed as a witch in 2 past lives. And last year I had an Akashic Records reading with a friend of mine, and she told me I had persecution karma, which is basically related to the witch wound, where, and I will get into that, persecution karma, or the fear of being persecuted for being different, is something, like I said, is just encoded in our DNA. It's been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And this is the first life, maybe like the last generation or two, we're finally like starting to be able to express ourselves in a safe way and know that we're not going to be persecuted or shunned or whatever, like especially as women. And it takes a lot of work, honestly, but it's worth it because we do have to rewire our brain and heal our nervous system, and there's just so many components to it. But like I said, it's something I've been working on for the past 3-ish years and continue to do so. And yeah, just such important work for healing this. But let me just see where I was at. Yeah, so a lot of times, like I said, women were not only killed as witches, but we were also tortured. We were forced to make vows to renounce our gifts. And whenever we make any type of vow like that in a past life, that actually continues until it's broken. I actually worked with one of my coaches who's also an energy healer recently, and she found a vow where I had renounced my spiritual gifts in the past. She said that's very common, and she said that this is something that so many light workers and empaths have gone through, because we, in order to basically save our lives at that time, we had to make this vow to renounce these gifts in order to, like I said, stay alive. And like I said, that vow is something that stays in your energy field, stays in your energy body until it gets cleared out. And this is why, like, the use of energy healing and Akashic Records are so important. And I do both sessions, so if any of you are interested, feel free to comment below and DM me, and I'll definitely DM you. We can discuss if those are right for you. But yeah, like I said, we have been forced to live in this box. We've been forced to contain our power, to stay small for centuries. And no wonder we have trouble waking up our inner power, waking up and shining our light. No wonder we have trouble healing this people pleasing, because we've been forced to please others for so long in order to stay safe, to stay alive, and just survive, which is really sad when you think about it, but we had to, especially as women who, I mean, at least in the United States, we only became like 100 years ago is when things shifted, and we finally got the right to vote, the right to like not be considered property. So really, it's not that long in the scheme of things that that this has all happened, and that doesn't mean everything shifted. There's there's just so many things, and we just have to learn and literally train our nervous systems that it's safe to come out of our shells and safe to be ourselves. And like I said, this is what I help people with in my coaching, my one-on-one coaching as well. and the ways that I've been able to come out of my shell, the way I've been able to heal my trauma, and just all of this. So let me know if any of this resonates with the few of you who are watching. I'd really love to know. Yeah, so that's basically, like I said, what the witch wound is, but we'll get into a couple of the common blocks when it comes to how the witch wound actually manifests in our life. First one is, like I said, the fear of being persecuted, or the fear of being different, the fear of not belonging. So basically, whenever we have this fear, when we have this block that we are going to be persecuted, and a lot of times it's held at a very unconscious level, and it's something we're not even aware of, but it often manifests as self-sabotage. Have you ever tried to make positive changes in your life, and you do so for a certain period of time, but then something happens and you just go back to the old way because you just, like I said, start to sabotage yourself, and you just cannot make permanent or long-term lasting changes, either when it comes to your personal health, when it comes to just whatever way improving your life. Carrie said she can definitely relate to this. Yeah, self-sabotage is a huge one, and this is all related to the fear of being persecuted, related to that witch wound I was talking about. Is so basically it's at a very, very deep level. You fear that you're going to be harmed if you succeed in these goals, and literally our ego in our mind, it thinks of things in very black and white. So as soon as you start to make positive changes, your ego steps in and it's like, oh, you're not safe anymore, you're gonna be killed, like all this stuff starts to happen, and then that's when you self-sabotage. And you don't even realize why you're doing it, but your ego is literally trying to keep you safe, but it's not keeping you safe. It's very old programming. It's something that we have to release and reprogram at this point. So doing shadow work is a really, really big part of this, in order to figure out why like your own traumas, your own triggers related to this, like what has happened in your life. And like I said before, energy healing, Akashic records, those really help you to get to the root of a lot of the things. Whenever I do energy healing sessions, I help I channel with my guides during the session, and I'm able to see like what kind of blocks come through or come up, and what has been released in the healing. When I do Akashic records, there's also some form of energy healing that happens within the records, but that's more of a channeled live interactive session where you can actually ask like whatever questions that come up related to blocks that are coming up in your life. Why are these blocks coming up? Is it coming from a past life? Is it a current life thing? Is it, and then we can actually go back and heal that root cause, which then heals it on the level now, because we live in this quantum universe where time is just a man-made construct. Time does not exist on an energetic level. So literally the past, the present, and the future is all happening simultaneously. I don't want to blow your minds too much, so I'll just leave it at that. Looking at my notes here, and so then basically this also causes you to block your psychic gifts, like I said, at a very unconscious level. And this is why so many of us maybe whenever you start going through your awakening and your gifts start coming online, that you might start feeling very anxious or fearful about them. Like at a conscious level, you're excited about them and it feels familiar and you want to experience them. But then very deep down, like you are blocking them as well. And that's what happened to me whenever I started getting into energy healing almost 2 years ago, is that like my psychic gifts started coming online, and they would come out in energy healing sessions. But then, I would feel like I was blocking them to a certain degree, and I actually still feel like that. It's definitely gotten a lot better. That's not something that's just going to come overnight, and I feel like it's all part of this witch wound, is allowing ourselves to feel comfortable with opening up the floodgates almost for our gifts to come through. And my gifts are, like I said, much stronger, much better, but I definitely still find myself blocking them to a certain degree. Or it's very interesting when that happens, because like I said, I am not perfect. I am just like you, like maybe just a little bit farther ahead, but either way, like this is why I want to help all of you with all of this. So like I said, if you have any questions as I'm talking, feel free to let me know. But like I said, this is why so many of us tend to be people pleasers, just because whenever we, in the witch wound, it really affects our throat, our voice. Our throat chakra here is our throat. That's how we speak. But if we have this deep people-pleasing wound, we're afraid to speak up, we're afraid to use our voice, we're afraid to set boundaries, we're afraid to really, like I said, show who you are and come out of the spiritual closet, per se. So let me see here. But yeah, if you feel like you're here on this planet for a reason, if you feel like you're meant to be in service, then this is a sign that you have definitely been a witch in past lives. And like I said, when I say witch, it's more like you were a healer, you were a medicine woman, you were a high priestess, a shaman, generally. And those gifts are have been carried on as well within you. And just know that whenever we heal our shadow, we not only heal the pain that we've been holding on to, but we also are able to release the gifts that we've been carrying for so long. The gifts of our uniqueness, being able to shine our light and being able to express our truth, being able to speak up for and stand up for what you believe in. I know personally, my throat chakra was probably the chakra that was the worst off before I started getting into energy healing, and doing the inner work. I had thyroid cancer at 19. I was, as a child, anytime I wanted to speak up and say like I had needs, basically, that I was shut down. And this was all at a very unconscious level. Like my mom, she did her best, but was it good enough? No, I definitely deserved better. And this is something we've been working on healing the past year-ish. And but like I said, I just want to share that, and I'm not doing that to shame her or anything. I'm just doing this just to share my own experience. But basically, whenever you have thyroid issues, or you have neck or shoulder pain or jaw pain, all of these things have to do with imbalances in your throat chakra. Whenever there's an energetic imbalance, it comes out in a physical or an emotional way. So like I said, anything that happens in this throat area, the shoulders, neck area, that is, like I said, signs of a throat chakra imbalance. And like I said, learning to use our voice, learning to speak our truth. And I know for me, like I said, it took let's see, I'm 33 now, but probably within the last like 3 years is when I finally started to learn to use my voice and put myself first. And like I said, stop putting myself last all the time and really starting to set small boundaries as I went. And yeah, it's definitely been a journey, because so many people in our lives, especially if you've been a people pleaser your whole life, putting others first, like whenever you start to put yourself first, it's going to rock the boat. It's definitely going to rock the boat, because people are not used to that. And this is something that affects us at a very deep level. Like, people pleasing has just been, like I said, this means to survive for so long. And yeah, I don't even know where I was going with all of that, but let me look back at my notes here. Oh yeah, I was talking about my own health and my own thyroid and voice and all of that. So basically, yeah, when I first started getting into energy healing, I was very disconnected from my emotions. I was very disconnected from who I was. I had an eating disorder. I had acid reflux. I had so many things. I literally would use food as a way to stuff these feelings back into me, because I didn't know how to deal with these feelings that were coming up. And that's another block I will get into here if we have the time. But like I said, going off on a tangent here. But yeah, like I said, we were trained to stay small, trained to not shine our light, trained to deny our emotions, and basically the whole intelligence of our emotional system, like learning to connect to our emotions and use it as a guidance system instead of as a way of judging ourselves. Oh, like, I'm feeling sad, like like whatever type of story you attach to that, like it's yeah, it's very yeah, our emotions are very powerful, and it's not something to be afraid of, is basically what I'm trying to say. A lot of times, like if you are feeling sad, then it's a time to reevaluate, like, what is making you sad? How can you either remove that or find a way to start putting yourself first more? Yeah, there's just so many things with that. So that is the first one I'm going to cover, about the, like I said, persecution wound, which is, like I said, a subtype of the witch wound. And the second one is the unworthiness wound. So basically feeling unworthy. And this can actually manifest in ways that you don't feel worthy of good things happening in your life. You feel like you're always going to be let down. You feel like the other shoe is going to drop type energy. Like, things start happening good, but then, oh, you just keep waiting for that thing to go wrong. And then it normally does, because we live in this quantum reality, and we create our own realities based on our subconscious mind, based on our own lived experiences. So like I said, if you feel like you're going to be disappointed by someone, you're going to keep manifesting situations that prove that you're going to keep being disappointed until you learn whatever lesson is coming up from that, until you heal that pattern and let that go. So, okay, let me go back to this. And basically, these feelings of unworthiness is just very deep shame that we hold on to. Shame about who we are, shame about our bodies in some way. I know I have held on to so much shame related to my own body, because I've always been on the overweight side, and learning to love myself and learning to know that I am worthy of good things, no matter what I weigh on the scale, is a huge one that I have personally gone through and still work through. Like, it still comes up at times, but like I said, it continues to improve, and it continues to just show up in deeper ways. So let me know, like I said, if that resonates. Let me know if it resonates, how it's coming up for you. I'd really love to help see if I can give you any advice on that. But yeah, some signs of this. Let me see here. But yeah, as I mentioned before, we carry this this trauma ancestrally. We carry it from past lives, if you believe in that, and obviously our current life. So there's so many different ways that we carry this trauma, and whether you had like a specific like traumatic experience when you were younger, or at any point in your life, or in your childhood, you just had like a series of smaller traumas, such as childhood emotional neglect, things like that, where you felt like you couldn't express your needs, where you felt like you couldn't, I think it's what I was trying to go to before, for the persecution one, with our voices, is that we were never allowed to speak our needs in a way that, where am I going with this? Yeah, so basically as children, whenever we would try to express our needs or whatever we wanted, like our parents were not equipped with the tools that we have now. So a lot of times they were very overwhelmed, they were very anxious, they were whatever, and they took it out on us as children, and we internalized it thinking like it was something we did wrong, and that made us as well feel unworthy of having needs, unworthy of, like I said, expressing those needs. Right, so some signs that this happens is that you continually enter relationships thinking, you continually have relationships, whether it's with friends or mostly with romantic partners, but you tend to start dating or having the same type of person in your life over and over again. And that can manifest as you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners or narcissists. And a lot of times that is, we attract these people into our lives because we feel, because like I said, manifestation, the law of attraction, we attract where we are at vibrationally. And if we feel like we're unworthy, we're just going to continue attracting partners or people into our life that perpetuate that wound until finally we address it. Mary said never good enough. Yeah, that's so common. And I have definitely been the same way, just feeling like never good enough, like I can never do enough. And that's another thing, is that so many of us have been trained and praised as children for all the things that we do. So now that we're adults, we feel like our worth comes from what we can do instead of who we are at a deep level. And there's a difference. We are inherently worthy. We are worthy of just existing, of being here. And that's like such a radical concept for so many of us. And, but yeah, like I said, as children, we were praised for like the things that we did. We were given an allowance for doing chores. We were praised for having good grades. But we were never praised for like, you're such a sweet person. Like a lot of times our sensitivity, especially as children, that was the complete opposite of praise. We were shamed for being too sensitive or whatever. So like I said, being ourselves has come up with so many challenges when it comes to this witch wound, and there's so many layers to healing this. And this is why I want to help all of you with healing this. Carrie said definitely. Yeah, it's yeah, this is intense stuff. But yeah, like I said, some other signs of this is, like Mary said, you never feel good enough. Like you just constantly feel inadequate. You feel like you're unlovable, like you're imperfect, you're bad at this core level, despite knowing that you are a good person. Like, you know this at a logical level. You know, like, you would never harm somebody on purpose. You know, like, all of this, but yet you still feel bad. You still feel just completely unlovable and very disconnected from who you are. So one tool that I've used that's really helped me is self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others. So there's a old or ancient Hawaiian prayer called Ho'oponopono. And I can definitely add that in the comments if anyone's interested, because it's an uncommon word for sure. But basically it goes with you think of a situation, or think of like you as a younger version of yourself, and where something happened and you feel like you need to forgive yourself for that situation. And you just start saying over and over again, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, and I love you. And just keep saying that, but mean it as you say it. And things really do shift energetically as you use that. That's been a really, really powerful tool. Like I said, I've used that in ways for healing myself. And like I said, for forgiving myself for things where I just made mistakes in the past, and we're human. Like, we're not meant to be perfect. And this whole definition of perfect without flaws, it's bullshit. Like, honestly, it's bullshit. Like I don't even know why that's the definition, because none of us are perfect in that way, but we are perfect for expressing our unique selves. We are perfect for being us. And that's what makes us perfect, not for being this cookie cutter normal version of us that is so unrealistic. Yeah. And then some other signs of this are fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. So a lot of times this fear of abandonment actually goes hand in hand with chronic anxiety, is that we feel, and the unlovable thing, that we get into we start like getting into a relationship and we feel like we're just going to be abandoned. We feel like we're going to be left behind, rejected. And a lot of the times when that comes through, it's actually because we're abandoning ourselves. We're rejecting ourselves at this core level. And this is why self-love is so important, and learning to connect with yourself on a daily basis. Through meditation, through inner child work, shadow work, like all the things. And I know there's so many things out there, but like I said, if any of you feel like you need guidance with where you are, like I said, I do offer those energy healing services or sessions and the Akashic Records readings. And I do also offer, like I said, one-on-one coaching for people who really feel like they need to deep dive into all of this to heal all of this. So like I said, if it's something you're interested in at all, comment, DM me below, and I will definitely do that. Let's see. Okay, so another sign is that you feel emotionally numb, and this is very common as empaths, because we're told that we're as an empath, we're very connected to our emotions, but that's only if you don't really have trauma. Honestly, we as children, especially if we had that trauma, like I said, I was talking about earlier, we tend to basically turn off our own emotions as a defense mechanism. And then in that way, we become hyper vigilant, and because as empaths, we can pick up on the subtle energies around us and in our environments and the people around us. We can tell like the emotions of people around us. So we become very hyper attuned to what's happening around us, but very disconnected from ourselves. And that's a whole nother way of protecting ourselves, of staying safe. Yeah, like I said, and just being emotionally numb. So learning to connect to our emotions and our own emotions. And yeah, for my personal experience, probably like 2.5 years ago is whenever I first started learning and getting into the emotional and the inner work and all of that is that I started journaling, because I would ask myself, I started learning about all this, and I would ask myself, like, how are you feeling? And I couldn't answer. I was so disconnected from myself. And like I said, getting into energy healing started to crack me open, and just learning all the ways that to connect to our emotions. And last year in 2020, at the beginning of the year, I set the intention to fully awaken my emotions and to master my emotions, and I have in many ways. And whenever we master our emotions, it's not about feeling happy, feeling joyful all the time. That's very unrealistic. We're meant to experience the full spectrum of our emotions, and like I said, use them as a guidance system. Like, are you feeling angry? Like, what are you feeling angry about? Do you feel like you should have set better boundaries? How can you do that moving forward, type thing? Like I said, using our emotions as a guidance system. And like I said, the way I started doing this is journaling every day, just about, at first I couldn't even, like I said, I was very disconnected from my emotions. Like, I couldn't, like, when I was journaling, I was more journaling like, oh, I went to work, I did this, blah, blah, blah. But eventually it's turned into, like, I felt like this throughout the day, like, or this triggered me, and just starting to be more aware of how we're feeling, about where we are. And that's just, like I said, a really, really good step. If you honestly check in with yourself and ask how you're doing, and you have no clue, you feel numb, like, that's a really good first step at doing that. And some other ways that the unworthiness wound comes out is that you feel like an outcast. Again, you people please as a way of hiding yourself, and as a way of protecting yourself, as a fear, like I said, of being abandoned, a fear of being rejected. And that, like I said, is very deep rooted in the witch wound of, if I express who I am, I'm going to be killed, I'm going to be tortured, I'm going to be hurt for who I am at this core, at this deep level. And just learning to be aware of that and being gentle with yourself on the way. Like, there's no rush in this healing process, but starting to just become aware of all these things is really, really crucial. And then, yeah, like kind of like we talked about feeling inadequate, but your thoughts about yourself are generally negative. Your thoughts about your reality are negative. You tend to try and control things. You tend to, like I said, have that anxiety where you feel like you can't let go and just kind of go with the flow type thing. You feel like there's just so many things that are too much to let go of, and you just have this weight of the world on your shoulders. So learning to let go step by step. I'm sure you've heard of the term surrendering. Surrendering does not mean giving up. It means knowing and trusting that there's a higher power out there that is going to take care of you. And the more that you take care of yourself, the more that you're going to be taken care of. And that's just the way manifestation works. And the law of attraction, like I said, you continually attract what basically you are vibrating at. There's multiple laws when it comes, universal laws when it comes to manifestation, but basically one of them is the law of vibration, is where we are at on the emotional scale. So basically, if we're vibrating at a level of shame or fear, we're just going to continue attracting more people or situations into our life that reflect that back to us in order to heal. And that is how the law of attraction works, really. But until we actually address and heal a lot of these trauma, a lot of these blocks, then we're not really going to be able to get to the place where we can manifest the things that we actually want. And I've been blocked myself for so long when it comes to manifesting things. Like, I've tried different techniques and they've failed. And a lot of times it's just because whenever we have these blocks in place, this prevents us from, like I said, feeling worthy of living the life, or even dreaming of this potential other reality where we have our dream life, whatever that means to you. Yeah, I feel like I'm going on another tangent there. But yeah, let me see here. So the third one that I'll get into, and I know I've already been talking for a while, but I'll make this last one quick, is that, yeah, like I said, we feeling disconnected from our emotions, and learning to rewire these rewire our brain for the thoughts, these negative thoughts, learning to connect to our heart, learning to connect to our emotional system, because we're not only a physical body, we actually have a whole aura or energy body around us, which is how energy healing works. So basically we have our physical body, and around that we have our emotional body, our mental body, our mind, and then we have our spiritual body, and then overall is just our energy body. So there's many different layers to healing, and basically healing, energy healing and manifestation go hand in hand. So basically, to manifest things, you have to be energetically aligned to that, or aligned to that on an energetic level before it actually manifests in the physical. And that also happens when it comes to when we have imbalances in our chakras and our energy points. Like I said, our throat chakra before. Like if we have thyroid issues, that's because our throat chakra is imbalanced. Something in our energy body is imbalancing that, or throwing that off. Yeah, so we're also, I go on with that. Yeah, it left my mind. Okay, Mary left a comment. Let's see. What if you need to disconnect because the feelings are too much, especially when drawing on others' emotions? You have to shield from others and yourself. Yeah, no, that's a really great point. Definitely a great point. This is why I always recommend grounding. Grounding is so crucial for empaths. Grounding means connecting to your physical body, basically, through different ways. You can ground through different grounding meditations. You can find those on YouTube for free. You can find, I use a grounding mat personally when I'm at my desk all day, and it's just this mat that connects to like a grounding cord. And basically the whole idea of grounding is that it helps you to, especially as empaths, we hold on to so many emotions from others that we have to ground daily in order to release this into the ground, into Mother Earth. Otherwise, we just hold on to it in our bodies. So that is the purpose of grounding. So like I said, grounding mats are great. Getting out in nature and walking, especially barefoot if you can somewhere. Having crystals, having plants around you. And specific crystals. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, but just depending, different crystals have different properties, and a lot of the crystals, the color of the crystal is actually related to a specific chakra in your system. So the ones that are great for grounding are the red and the black crystals. That has to do with your root chakra or your base chakra. So yeah, like I said, it's not something that you have to just completely open up wide and just be like, here you go. Like that's not, like, your nervous system's going to freak out. Your ego is going to freak out. It's just learning to do it step by step. And like I said, this is why it's great that you just start with learning to connect to your own emotions first, through the journaling practice, through, like I said, checking in with yourself at least once a day, and just be like, how are you feeling? And just learning to, even if nothing comes through, even if you still feel numb or disconnected from your own emotions, it's training yourself, and you're slowly getting there, and it does happen. It happens over time, so be patient with yourself. And like I said, as you're doing that, like I said, finding ways to ground daily is just so crucial to, like I said, releasing those feelings of shame from that we hold on to, those feelings of just so many things. Yoga is another great way of grounding. And just doing meditation in general is very important. That helps to clear your mind. It helps you to disconnect from these negative thoughts that pop up. It helps you to realize that the thoughts that happen in your head are not you. Like, you are not, your thoughts are not you, basically. Yeah, it's just very, yeah. So I hope that helps answer your question there. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, so I pretty much covered most of that now that I'm looking at my notes. But yeah, like I said, learning to journal and just be aware of where you are at. Journal about your thoughts that occurred during the day. Journal about anything that may have triggered you, or just anything that happened, and just start to just be aware. Another suggestion is Google feelings chart, and just look at all the feelings that are there. There's so many different feelings, and that might help you to narrow down exactly how you're feeling. I had to do that for a while at first because I had no idea, like I said, how I was feeling. So I had to look at it and be like, oh, okay, this feeling of, I don't know, I can't think of one right now, but whatever feeling, this is what I'm feeling right now, and this is why I'm feeling it. And yeah, like I said, just be gentle with yourself. Like it takes time, and this is why it's a daily practice in order to heal this. It's, like I said, not a quick fix, but the way that we do this is a long-lasting fix. It's going to heal us moving forward into future lives. It's going to heal our future ancestors. Even if you already have kids, or if you're planning to have kids, this is going to help your ancestral line. Because literally, as we heal ourselves and heal this trauma and these blocks and these wounds within us, this is what helps us to, like I said, just it helps our future generations in so many ways. Let me just see if there's anything else I'm missing. Oh yeah, and then another way, like I said, checking in with your body is you could even do a body scan, and just starting at the top of your head, just like scanning your body, like with your eyes closed, and just seeing, like, do you feel any tension? Do you feel any tightness? Do you feel any... Just start tuning into what you're feeling in your body, and based on what you're feeling in your body, it is, like I said, related to the chakras, related to your energy a lot of the time. So if you're feeling like stomach issues, it generally has to do with unworthiness here, fear of success, perfectionism, all those things. If you're feeling it in your throat, that means you're just not, like I said, as we talked about before, not speaking your truth or setting boundaries or whatever it is. So like I said, just becoming aware of all of this is just really that's how I began my journey, and that's how I recommend that all of you do as well, if that's yeah, it's very important to do this, because in the last 3 years, like I said, 2.5, 3 years of me doing all this inner work, I have shifted my life in so many ways I can't even describe. And there's, yeah, so many more things on the horizon for me that I just feel, and that's like the whole power of manifestation, is that I've been able to rewire my brain from constantly fearing the worst to looking forward to the future, looking forward to the unknown, and just being open to the blessings that come in. And that's the power of all of this, is just being able to yeah, like I said, do all of this. And it's definitely, like I said, takes consistent action and work. But like I said, it doesn't have to be anything huge or anything huge that's going to like freak out your nervous system or your ego and cause you to self-sabotage. Just remember to start small and just check in with yourself, and do the journaling. It's very important, not even important. Yeah, it's important, but it's very helpful, and it's just going to help you so much. Because like I said, it's helped me tremendously. Let me just see if there's anything else here. Oh yeah, but then when I talked about perfectionism is like another thing that comes up in terms of all of this. And whenever when we have this perfectionism, it generally is related to our childhood again. It's related to feeling like we weren't perfect, and because we weren't perfect, then we don't deserve love, we don't deserve good things in our life, and we basically just take the shit that comes through and and this is why we stay in relationships for too long. This is why we just so many things. Like we just feel like we are just should be better, should be perfect. And like I said, it's very unrealistic. And just showing up as you and being who you are, that in your unique self, your unique expression, that is what you're meant to be doing. That is who you're meant to be. And as you start to do that, the people who are meant to be with you will be with you, and the people who aren't meant to be with you will start to leave your life. That's just basically what happens. And yeah, well, I just want to thank you all. I think that's where I'm going to end this. But feel free to, sorry, just setting my notebook down, but feel free to leave any other comments, feedback, questions that you have, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. I'd really love to help answer your questions there. And like I said, I really want to help all of you. But as mentioned, if any of you feel like you need additional assistance with anything, feel free to just comment below, and we'll connect offline and or off the group anyway, and see how I can assist you and your journey. But I love all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, and have a great evening, or whatever time you're watching this. Have a great day. Bye.